Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. It is March 20th, 2019, and I am hella late out of the gate, as always, but it's become almost the forte of Cannabis in Canada is to not be on time. I'm telling you, that 7 a.m. morning show is a tough show to get up and do. But today we do have some legitimate, when I say legitimate, I mean pressing concerns for medical patients that access the marijuana for medical, the ACMPR, access to cannabis for medical purposes regulations. The reason I talk about this and the reason I'm bringing this up today, and again to my friends on YouTube or on Facebook that are looking for the Facebook feed, we are streaming solely to YouTube at this point, and I don't think we're going to be coming back to Facebook. For a couple of different reasons. So there's a reason we're doing that, and I think that the chat would be more interactive if we were able to consolidate the groups. So if you are watching this on Facebook through a shared link, feel free to come join us in the chat, in the Facebook chat. It's quite interactive, and we're very quick on the gun to get rid of any of the troublemakers that like to come on for their 5 minutes of fame. Not like there's much fame on the internet, but hey. Now we have an issue with Health Canada. I have a letter here that these are things that are serious. This is the 4th time my license was sent back, so I can only speak about me in the first person because I've went and spoke to my attorneys about it. That being said, I've heard from patients across this great nation. We fought an Allard, spent $1.2 million, so patients did not need to stress over barriers to access a grow permit that really the doctor authorizes, not Health Canada. They're just a processing center. So how dare they hold back licenses for fucking 6 to 8 months on medical patients, some with cancer, some with HIV, some with friggin' multiple sclerosis. No big deal, right? Just as long as you get your taxes, big brother. You're going to get a big slap upside your head coming again. Just like the privacy lawsuit, just like Allard, you are going to get it again, Health Canada. I don't know what it is that, what you're trying to just piss off medical patients, or you're trying to abolish the medical program. I've talked about my fears. You guys think I'm fear-mongering. I ain't fear-mongering. I'll ask you when they've ever asked for proof of, proof upon proof of residence. So you send in your landlords, I'm going to break this down for you. You apply for a medical license, and when you apply for it, they say, fill out X, Y, and Z, and get your doctor to sign here. So you do that. Now they'll either send it back to you and say you didn't cross a T or dot an I. You're used to that. Government bureaucracy. Fine, let's do it. But when you accept that license and you send it back to the patient and you say you didn't cross this T, or you forgot this little section here, can you just date this and send it back? That should be the only amendment made. So you send it back to Health Canada, and then Health Canada turns around and sends it back to, well, we need more information. Can you send us a hydro bill? And it's like, what? What do you mean you need more information? You mean I'm fraudulently lying to you about where I was growing last year and the year before that? I'm fraudulently making this up? Or are you suggesting that my landlord is a friggin' liar and this isn't his signature that you've accepted last year and the year before that? So, big brother, you got a problem coming. I can't wait till John Conroy's back in the country. Though retired, John Conroy is very much so behind the medical patients, and the outcome of Allard was not to have more barriers to access put in place by the system. It's just wrong. Patients are suffering across this country. Now, for me, again, I'm lucky. I'm sitting here ready to go up in front of a judge, show all my paperwork, and say, look, Your Honor, this is what they've done to me. My lawyers will be quick to remind the judge, Your Honor, from the time the doctor signs, that's when Mr. Wilcox was technically authorized to do this. And being part of the program since 2003, we're in 2019. And the first time since 2003, and all this time I've been in the program, not once have I had my license sent back 4 times. Now they're asking for pictures, they're asking for all kinds of stuff. Oh, and get this, they want a hydro bill. So you finally, you're like, or not, they want a bill for the address, proof of address, they want to call it. It's barrier to access, bullshit. But anyway, proof of address, they want it. Okay. we'll send you the hydro bill. We'll block out everything, our account number, shit we don't, none of your fucking business, Health Canada. Then what do? They send back a piece of paper that says we don't accept snapshots. It's like, this ain't a fucking snapshot. Nowadays, people use what's called digital paper. We don't get our bills in the mail in a fucking letter. I mean, you might if you live in a small town or something, but honestly, most people get their bills through their email. So Health Canada wants an original. Well, even if you print out a copy of that email, it's still a snapshot. It's just done on a printer. Agitating, irritating, and it could compromise the health of the medical patients of Canada. Some of them are much, much, much worse off than I, and that's who I'm speaking for today. And part of the reason I reached out to my attorneys, and I know we didn't fight for this in Allard. That's all I can say. I know we didn't fight to have them come and slowly push out the medical program. I expected some blowback on me. I mean, honestly, I'm hoping this is just a me problem. I'm hoping this is just a coalition problem. We all knew it sitting on the board of directors that as soon as we made our names public, and when I got cross-examined in the privacy breach by the federal government's prosecutors, and I refused to answer 50% of the questions at the direction of Ward Branch, who's now a Supreme Court Justice here in Canada, by the way. But Ward Branch himself sat there telling me, don't answer that question. I'm instructing my client not to answer that question. And then the Crown would say, I'll take that as an objection. I'll take that as an objection. Well, you know what? Hey, that's law. We did not come this far to move backwards. So come target me. I'm okay with that. But don't stop targeting other medical patients. There's a lady dying with cancer, and you're cutting off her license because her husband was in the coalition. I mean, I'm really trying to figure this out. So my friends, maybe you can help me in Canada. Let me know if you're having a problem. I'm not, because we're on a much more international stage now. I don't want to go too much into the show on this one topic, other than to say email John Conroy at johnconroy.com. Okay. Call his office, ask for a call back. If you're dealing with similar things, strange emails, asking for pictures of the wall to prove that there's a divider wall between you and another warehouse, all these new little regulations, though permissible to request these pictures, they are not regulated or mandated. So they give you options. So now they don't take snapshots. So it's like, okay, so what? I have to now phone my hydro company, not mine, because I'm in a collective. So a hydro company then has to somehow this is where it gets screwy. That has to somehow, we have to tell them, hey, don't send anything electronic, send us a paper copy, because this is what Health Canada wants. And this is what I mean by barriers to access. It delays the process. 8 months later, since I got my license sent into Health Canada, I'm still sitting here. Exact same thing happened last year. And then John Conroy phoned them, and John said to me, Jason, can you get a letter from your doctor? And I said, probably within 48 hours. So within 48 hours, I had him a new script for 1 year. John Conroy got on the phone with Health Canada, and I had a 1-year license here in 7 days. So yes, Health Canada, we're on to you. Trust me, that's what activists do. We do our jobs. And my job now is coming after you. Until you start processing the paperwork right. That or else, they're not planning on giving out any more big licenses. I told you guys my biggest fear is you're going to make a one-tiered program. Legalization, one-tiered, 4 plants everywhere. And you need any more, you go through your provincial formulary or go through an LP dispensary. Or mailing system, whatever the case might be. This is stuff that some people might just say it's Health Canada being due diligence. I would argue due diligence would be, if you wanted all this additional information, my landlord's signature wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? Suggesting that we're both liars and frauds and phonies, just like we're all fire, mold, and gangsters. Just like they did in the Allard trial. Doing the same shit now. Suggesting that's what it infers to me when they say we need more evidence. It's like, you need more evidence. You need more proof. Proof of what? You've already had me growing at this address for 2 years. You've issued licenses. And now you're going to say, no, no, do that. And here's the kicker. On the 4th time it comes back to you, they ask you for Annex 1 again. And for those of you out there that don't know what Annex 1 is, that's the landlord's original application. Yes, the original application form. So a basic form that the landlord's already filled out. Health Canada has already accepted, or they would have mailed it back and said, we don't accept this landlord's signature. Please send us something back with the proper signature. They wouldn't just allow it. So the sooner we all wake up to what's going on, the better. Because this is truly, it's impacting the lives of patients across this great nation, and it can't continue. We didn't spend $1.2 million fighting the government and kicking their ass, putting them on trial, just to have them turn around and do this. Now, if it was just me because I was the asshole that took on Big Brother, fine. If it was just myself and a few of my friends in the leadership of the coalition, hey, government bullshit, fine. But if this is a broader problem, please contact John Conroy at johnconroy.com and let him know what's up. I know some of y'all are going to hear that he's retired, and he is retired. It doesn't mean he's not a social justice activist still. It doesn't mean he doesn't have the power of attorney still. And the power of attorney is a lot. Until he's disbarred, which will never happen, he's Queen's Counsel, then he can go jump up and go in front of the courtroom anytime he wants. When it's the right reason. Justifiable reason. Right now we're facing non-justifiable reasons to hold back licenses. And it isn't just me, because when I did the research, you know, there's me, there's members of the coalition that were in the upper ranks of the coalition that the government were spying on. And I told you guys they were listening to us because they had recordings, and they already knew who my vice president was. They already knew when they cross-examined me basically how the coalition was. What they wanted to know was how we worked. But because we were all signed to non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, none of us talked. So it made us a secret organization, and the government doesn't like secret organizations. Well, tough titty, government. You got your ass kicked, you got to hand it to you, and now you're pulling a fucking tantrum. But you're messing with patients like myself, 25 years into my illness. You want to sit there and hold my permit back. It's not going to stop people from growing. You're only going to criminalize and marginalize the very people that overturned the laws in the first place. Anyway, going on to a positive part for today's show. Let's just get off that topic. I wanted to touch on that and make sure, because I know that on YouTube we don't have the same. On Facebook, I got an audience that is solely driven towards medical, because we built the coalition on Facebook, and we ran our mission and our fundraisers and our communications using social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. But we've decided to start streaming just to YouTube so that people in the chat can better engage. And I will have Vicky on this other computer here in a couple of minutes, and she'll be able to monitor the chat if there's anything going on. I can't even see the chat right now. So I'm used to having, like, what I liked about the Facebook chat is it was almost in real time. So when I seen something come up, I could answer it to you in real time. With YouTube, when you post something up in the chat, it takes about a minute to get to me. So when I see your question, I'm like, oh, okay, that's your question, but you asked it 5 minutes earlier. So it kind of makes for a bad communication section. And if anybody wants to let me know what their thoughts on YouTube Premium. I'm considering whether I want to get this, only because it allows this super chat and these other things that I don't understand how to make work. I'm going to see whether it offers that right now, actually. There, now I'm in here. Few people on. Please share this around, my friends on YouTube, because we are not where we normally are, being able to get out and sharing it out. Bradley Saunders, it would be a Coalition 2.0. It's just, we have a documentary being made on the original Coalition, and with the lawyers and the plaintiffs and the expert witnesses and the patients that funded it. So we definitely don't want to in any way tarnish the legacy of a successful mission. That includes the privacy case, which is, I mean, these privacy cases, we're now, what, 6 years in? 5 years in? But you're all going to get paid. 42,000 patients are going to get paid for sitting at home and just waiting. Not because you earned it, not because you went out and done anything, just because somebody stuck up for your rights, for your constitutional right to liberty and for it not to be infringed on. And your constitutional right to privacy, and to not have you exposed to the public for your medical problems or needs. That's what this case was fundamentally about. Thanks, Med THC Ontario. We do need moderators. What we're doing right now is if I tweak the show out, because we're back on YouTube and we're seeing the analytics working back up, I wasn't sure whether to keep going with live shows. Should I go back to pre-record shows? I wasn't sure what to do, but I know that I've always wanted the live engagement. I feel there's 800 shows on my channel, 42,000 to 70,000 people a week coming to my channel and watching those old shows. So reinventing the wheel doesn't make a lot of sense to me versus trying to do shows like this and engaging and talking about relevant stuff like present day stuff. Like today, right now, patients are suffering in Canada. There's no access, and then under recreational, we're legal, but there's no weed unless you know somebody in the underground. And if you're a medical patient trying to get a license, well, like I said, you got to throw them back 4 times. And with global legalization going on, it is really hard times right now. Shit, I'm back to my umming. I apologize. And I will need administrators. We have administrators on Facebook, and please check out the Cannabis in Canada group on Facebook. I know some of y'all don't like Facebook, but once you're inside the group, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's guiding principles, and there is a strict administrative protocol that prevents people from sorry. Fuck. Whatever, put the thing on mute. Anyway, the administration on the Facebook group, if you guys want to check out Cannabis in Canada Facebook group again on Facebook, for fuck's sakes. I'm starting to stutter now. Fuck, I hate that. Bad enough I'm late out of the gate in the morning, but whatever, it is what it is. Until again, commitment is everything, and even if you try your hardest and fail, that's okay, but at least you know you tried your hardest, and that's why I stay committed. Frustrated, but committed. And it's good to have, thank you, Fearless, or yeah, it's Fearless Fred. I'm almost got your name down. Fearless Fred Fury. That's a fucking mouthful. Fearless Fred Fury. But you're right. It is a great group, and I'm proud of that group. Even though Facebook just purged 3,000 of our members, I'm assuming those are the dead accounts and people that are just not there anymore. And that's okay. It's a little bit of an older group. There's still 10,000 of us in there, kicking up dust, and that's really the birth of the coalition. Was birthed from my company, Cannabis in Canada. I founded the coalition. So I took my company, I put it on the shelf and said, forget about my needs. My country has needs. That's what's called patriotism. There was no benefit in this for me. The only benefit was that I'd get to keep growing my garden. But what I seen was a hostile takeover by companies. And now you all can see it. But trust me, in 2012, there were guys thinking that I needed a hard hat or need to go see a psychiatrist or something because I must be crazy. They're not setting a footprint in Canada so we can legalize around the world. No, you're crazy, Wilcox. Oh, no, I'm so crazy, am I? Well, where are we supplying around the world right now? Only about 9 countries, and it's Canada supplying them. I don't know, man. We need to get on this and we need to get it going. But that Cannabis in Canada group, that's the one group I have a lot of pride in because the people in the group and the dedication, they're patients, most of them, and cannabis enthusiasts. So everything from growing, holistically talking Cannabinese, you can go in there and you can talk with people, you can PM people, you can get a hold of people, and you're not going to be ever mistreated or banged on, or if you are, then said member that does bang on you would be removed and banned and blocked. We have like zero tolerance for bashing other members. We don't allow promotion in there unless people are working with the company. There's a lot of different things, but most importantly is it's like-minded people where what mattered to me, and this is because when I started Cannabis in Canada, it worked fundamentally on education. So for me, it was about how do we keep people from attacking each other? Hey, you're an idiot. Hey, you're an idiot. This guy's an idiot. That guy's an idiot. All these different, you guys know what goes on. This is why, again, in the Facebook purge, we've seen, I think it was, I don't know, over 100 groups shut down that were less than 1,000 members or around 1,000 members. Honestly, these groups got shut down because they were either likely selling or I'm not sure. There was a purge, and I'm not sure exactly what happened during this purge. You're right. I agree, Stan. Read C45. The Cannabis Act of Canada is like C45. I'm not C45. I believe C46 is the driving. I'm going off the top of my head. It's been a little while since I've read through there. But you go through the Cannabis Act and you go through some of these laws.
Oh, my chat's up on my new phone. Yes.
And many other rights are coming next. C45, and they will see inspectors and many other things are coming next. Stan, you could be right. This is what I predicted, and none of us are afraid of inspectors. Trust me. I can play a movie after and show you how I deal with inspectors. Check. Hopefully the sound's going okay. Alright, sorry for the interruptions, guys. I'm told there's no sound. I guess there's sound. I'm trying to do my best here. I'm hungover as fuck and barely got out of bed, so please bear with me. I'm trying to stay on topic. But good morning, guys. And I hope you're wrong too, Stan. I hope I'm wrong. I'm the first one to fucking tell people. Not first one, but I'm definitely one of the first people to start to point out to everybody this is global monopolization. Even though we beat them in a federal constitutional challenge to grow our plants, we're going to be able to grow 4 plants in this country. They're not going to remove that entirely. They just don't want patients growing 300 plants. No. That cuts into their royalties, at least in their minds. Every patient's still gangsters. We all sell our fucking drugs. But if it's medicine and we're legalized, I don't understand where all this plays in. Because now you're again, Big Brother is making the assertion without directly saying it like they did in Allard. See, we went right after them. The minute they accused us of fire, mold, and organized crime, we went right to Stats Canada. Where's the statistical data to back this up? Then we grabbed 3,000 victim impact statements from 3,000 willing patients across this country. That's how we selected our 4 plaintiffs for the case. That's how you change policy. That's how you fight back. Quebec removed it from the beginning, my friend, unfortunately. And that's because Quebec is unfortunately governing under a different act. It really sucks. But you guys have your own medical system there and your own medical team. And they have blocked, quite frankly, they have blocked you guys all along. Long before now, under the MMAR, there was nothing in Quebec that you could grow. But I know Boris and the boys. I know the boys downtown, so go to your local Kapasha Club downtown. Quebec is a city run by... Quebec is Quebec. I'll just say that. But to Boris and my friends there holding it down, trying to make things happen, that's good. That's what we need. I don't know how... Because Quebec almost separated from Canada, so it became... When that whole thing happened, I don't know what happened with the medical system and why you have to have a different medical system than us when we're all part of the same country. But... Our medical system is just as screwed when the Canadian Medical Association says, hey, 1 to 3 grams is enough because the Israelis say so. I'm like, the Israelis aren't even legalized. What do you mean they say so? Oh, you mean GW Pharmaceuticals says so? Because that's where they're located. And that's where their biggest cannabis plant fields are located, is in Israel. So when you keep hearing, why are we listening to Israeli numbers? It's because we had, Canada, I shouldn't say we, not our team, but the defense, Canada, flew in experts from all around the world to come in and testify, and they brought in the Israelis and the GW Pharmaceuticals because they thought for sure this would overwhelm the judge. Oh, GW Pharmaceuticals, these guys can't be wrong. They didn't overwhelm the judge. It just showed the judge that the courts, or that the federal government was playing dirty pool. Then their organized crime. Again, I talk about this a lot, but their organized crime, if you guys had been in the courtroom like I was, I had to go outside and have a joint smiling afterwards because Officer Holquest, who was named in the decision by the judge, simply held up a Hells Angels medallion and said, we found this at the grow up. And that makes it organized crime. And then Kurt Tusaw stood up with his I think it was his laptop. And he showed the judge, Your Honor, you can go to the Hells Angels website right here and you can download the keychain for $2.35 American. Or you can order, not download, but you can order it. So what actually, and then Officer Holquest starts to walk backwards. Well, technically, organized crime is three or more people working together. Yeah, but where's the crime? You got 3 or more people working together, and you got a Hells Angels medallion, which doesn't make organized crime. That just means you happen to maybe like the Hells Angels, you know, or maybe you like to ride Harleys. I don't fucking know. But for whatever reason, that doesn't make organized crime. And that was a mistake the government made. Throwing conjecture, lies, and speculation at a bunch of medical patients thinking we were just going to lay down and take it. Now they're doing it to all of us. Question you need to ask yourself, I say this on many shows, we all need to ask ourselves. What are you going to tell your fucking grandkids? And what's your kids going to tell their kids and their kids and their kids and so forth during this time in history when Canada repealed prohibition? What did we allow happen? Monopolization and corporatization, or liberty and freedom in a free and democratic fucking land? If we truly are the land of the free and the home of the brave, then goddamn it, start being brave and being free. Because we're living in a doctorian regulatory system when it, with respect to cannabis, at least in this country. I can make wine, beer here in my house, but I can't fucking grow weed. That's messed up. Now you talk about inspectors and stuff. I agree. I would also note that this also came out in the Aller trial. You know, Health Canada loves to talk a lot of shit. Loves to use fear-mongering and loves to use barriers to access. And I know you're listening now, you bastards. I really don't care. You're still nothing to me but a processing center. And you know you are. The worst part about it is that you're hurting patients. And I have spoken to my lawyers, and you will be hearing from us. This is one of the few times that I come on the air and I actually say, no, we're actually going to do something. I'm not sure what, but we're going to do something. And if this is a broader problem, if there are a lot more patients suffering in this country, there is potential for legal action to come against you. Holding up these licenses, asking for all these additional things, asking for new annexes 8 months into the thing, asking you to reproduce documents that have already been produced for Health Canada. It's like, put the police on me as an investigation, or stop asking for all this weird information, because really they're only doing nothing more than justifying it, saying it's in the regulations that they're allowed to ask for it. And my rebuttal to this, and if I was in front of a judge, would be, why was it not on the application when you first sent it out to Mr. Wilcox? Why did you have to send it back to him, delaying another 3 months, just to tell him he needs this much more information? Then you send it back to him another 3 months. We need more information. Now they just sent it back to me again. We need more information. When you start adding this stuff up, it's barriers to access. Now, some people might think they're just targeting you, Jason, because you're the head of the coalition. Could be. You know, it could be just me. And I wish I could say it was, but, you know, my attorney said that's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I find out my vice, the guy that served, you know, a close friend of mine served as my vice president with the coalition, his license isn't getting processed. His wife, who's palliative cancer, is not getting her license. So the people who fought and paved the driveway to legalization, so all you motherfuckers out there are making money, was the sick and dying patients of Canada. And you guys ain't done shit. And now you're holding up licenses. This was one of your delay tactics before, and part of the reason we kicked your ass so bad in the courts. 16 times. 16 constitutional challenges. We beat you, and we beat you bad. And we're going to beat you again. The constitutional right to liberty and freedom in the land of the home, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Again, are we really? Are we really? Because when I was brave and fighting and saying, hey, fuck you, big brother, you ain't going to do this. You ain't taking a harmless plant from me that's healing me and helping me. Now, I was happy to have 15,000 patients, but I guarantee you there was hundreds of thousands that could have helped. But everybody stays in self-preservation mode. And now everybody's saying, oh no, I'm losing this, I'm losing that. No, it's not ridiculous, man. They're not fucking with me. They're forcing a lawsuit. There's a difference between fucking with me, but you gotta remember, I'm the guy that put them on trial. I restrained them with a federal injunction. I put them on trial and kicked their fucking ass with my friends. That's what we did. Very historic here in Canada. So it doesn't fucking matter. Do I worry about these guys? They aren't fucking with me. They're fucking with medical patients' lives. Like the lady I just said, a palliative patient. It could be your mother, your aunt, your fucking daughter. If she was palliative with cancer and all of a sudden her license was being held up and you're facing going to jail, she can't have her husband get locked up if she's palliative in cancer. Think about that, motherfuckers, before you start coughing off that they're fucking with just one person, because it's not. It's all of us. And the sooner we get out of self-preservation mode or jump on the LP bandwagon and accept that legalization is going to be corporatization over cannabis. And I know I get fired up, Stan, but you know what? You're making good points, because in Allard we learned one thing, and I kind of already knew this, but I could never prove it. Well, and it came out because, you know, it was either Mr. Conroy or Mr. Tusaw that directly asked the Crown, well, how many gardens did Health Canada actually inspect? Not green teams that, you know, Gracie, our great fire expert that lied on the stand, not Gracie, the one that said that we did all these fires, but really, where does it all go? And sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the comments here at the same time. I know you do, Stan. Actually, I appreciate anybody tuning into this show. I mean, what I do is I like to engage with the audience, and where applicable, you know, again, in an intelligible conversation, let's talk about this. But I really don't want anybody hurt. I don't want to attend any funerals because of overregulation of cannabis. You're talking about a plant. I've seen the amount of medications this lady's on. If it wasn't for the painkillers, I mean, God knows what's keeping her going. But cannabis kept that aggressive cancer at bay for years. 6 years ago, they told her to get her affairs in order. 7 years, I don't know, 8 years, I don't know how long it's been now. She's a walking miracle to me. But either way, her license is not being processed. Fear of persecution is, they're law-abiding citizens. So fear of persecution becomes another issue. You know, if I pop these up because I know I need to feed my wife, am I going to be prosecuted? No, I've told them, go ahead and put your beans down, because if you end up in front of the judge, just show all the paperwork. But not everybody's like me. They're not so quick to jump at authorities and jump in their face and say, no, fuck you. You ain't going to do this. I don't say it that way. I try and be a little more polite when it's an officer or somebody of authority. But it's a point. And it's really not, and again, a shout out here to Johnny Blaze there, 420. The LP's its choice. I will not say there's an us and them between the LPs and us. I would remind everybody, after my, what are we in, 2019 now? I started 2012 fighting these guys. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I suck at math. 7 years. 7 years I've been studying and monitoring and watching their maneuvers. So I don't believe it's just fuck the LPs. In the beginning, I was one of the originals to start pointing out that these guys are monopolizing us. Y'all just don't remember, but it's on YouTube. I ain't worried, I can back it up. But we warned you. This was coming. So it's not the LPs necessarily. The originals, Canopy Growth Corp, here's an example. Canopy Growth Corp. The chief financial officer of the Liberal Party, the governing power right now in our country, the political arm, their chief financial officer made his first million off Canopy Growth. That is a conflict of interest. So those LPs, some of them are bad. I don't believe all 100 are bad. I believe a few of the big guys are just big, rich billionaires that don't give a shit about anybody but themselves and their pocketbooks. But then I can't believe, in my heart of hearts, that all 100 companies in Canada are bad. That they're all here to do us harm. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that there's overregulation by the government, and it's forcing us to fight each other. It's forcing LPs to fight with patients. And they don't care, because we're a niche to the legalization market. We're really just nothing to them. That's why they're phasing us out. Though we paved the driveway to legalization for all their dumbass fucking Gucci suits, you know, like fucking go ahead, walk around, badasses. You're still just rich guys that bought in, but you still need us to make things happen. My bigger question is, why are your lobbyists not doing a better job to lobby for a better program and a better place for Canada with cannabis? So everybody makes money and everybody's actually supplied, because the only people getting supplied is Australia, Germany, Bolivia, Romania. Who else is getting supplied? Ireland. You know, we're supplying these countries with cannabis. That's why there's a shortage. There ain't no fucking shortage. You guys see the prices they get? $600 for fucking little bottle of fucking caps. 25 milligram caps. Weak ones. Man, I'm fired up today. I don't even fucking want to go to commercial break. I just feel like just, you know, just smash the fucking table in. Because I love that Canada's getting fired up again. Let's just say that. What I seen was as I went around, I'm getting more and more people saying, hey, we're getting fired up again. You know, you should be getting motherfucking fired up. Again, land of the free, home of the brave. So if you're free, there's a time to be brave. My grandfather fought in the war. My great-grandfather fought in the wars. That's what got us fucking freedom. Now, because this isn't a war with guns and bullets, it's still a motherfucking political war. A legal war that needs to be fought. Or we are not the home of the free. We're just living in a dictatorial democracy. Tell me that's not fucked up. And calm my ass down, take a dab. And I'm going to throw on here, if the police come to your door. Actually, no. We got 420. This will give me a nice 5-minute even break. You guys can listen to some music. Chill the fuck out. We'll come back with some positive vibes. I'll come back, calm myself down a little bit. You're right. You got to get mad before you take action. But you also got to build an army. And I've already done it. I won't do it twice. I've already said I will not sit as a president again. I will be happy to sit and help and lend anything that I've learned over the past 7 years fighting this multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, you know, that's called legalization. I never thought I'd be saying I'm fighting legalization, but I actually am. I'm fighting the regulation governing legalization. And by doing so, exercising my right to liberty, free speech, and the right to assemble and say, fuck you, your laws are wrong. Just like I can come on the air here and exercise my right to free speech and say what the government's doing here is wrong. You're going to do it to your country next. And when you all start realizing this, we're all going to start talking. There's going to be international fucking... And when I was in Australia, we talked about this, whether we should form an international, you know, committee to start to address these things so we're all on the same page. Where these corporations, they fly around on their private jets and they go from one country to another country. They have secret meetings, sort of like the Bilderberg Group. Those of you that are into the Alex Jones type shit. Sort of like the Bilderberg Group. These conglomerate of LPs meet in secret, decide which countries they're going to monopolize, and they do it. And when I think about Australia, the reason I go back to this, because there's some really nice people in Australia, really good people. I had the best fucking trip, other than Vicky getting sick there, which was very unfortunate and scary for us. But aside from that, I really, really enjoyed the people of Australia. Part of me wants to go back there. And I have opportunities to go back there, you know. But I think when I got there and I seen, somebody said to me when I was there, you know, Jason, only the rich in Australia, unless they take a risk, it's really just the rich that are able to afford legal cannabis. And I'm like, what do you mean legal cannabis? You're already legalized? No, but we can get it imported from Canada. I'm like, so I'm looking around and I'm starting to think, okay, wait, they have cross-border tickets now. So they can take our weed and ship it over to another country. Equally, we can import weed from other countries. So we've imported shit weed from Uruguay, which nobody wanted in Uruguay. Shitty ass little country, no offense to Uruguay, but shitty ass little country. Nobody wanted their weed, so what did they do? Canada bought it and sold it to you patients through their legalization model of corporatization. Hoo-wah! It has just begun, Stan. And this is what I'm saying. But this is... See, for me, I just went through a $1.2 million battle to win the right to grow. And okay, we wouldn't even be talking about growing. At all. The government's plan was not to have us grow. It was to have all of Canada buy. That's why I say monopolization. We were all supposed to buy from these 100 corporations. either through the mail or through their stores. The only reason they're even allowed to have stores is because we went to court. And the judge said patients need frontline access. But show me where in the Cannabis Act they address patients in any capacity for dispensing or anything. The only place they address patients in the Cannabis Act of Canada is in growing at home. So if you can't grow, then you're not medical. That's basically what the government's saying to you. We don't give a fuck about distributing, educating, or any other thing else about you. Somebody else can do that. And that bothers me. It really bothers me. And it's about money. And you got to remember, what were we told during the committee hearings? You guys all remember the Senate hearings and oversight committees and everybody else that looked over this Cannabis Act? There were some good questions and some good things raised by the senators. But my God, 4 plants, if they knocked us all back to 4 plants and then said to medical patients, well, hey, if 4 plants doesn't suit your medical needs, you can just go to your local CCBO. Motherfuckers, that's a different strain down there than what I grow. What I grow ain't no motherfucker got in the world because I bred the bitch. I crossed plant A with plant B, made plant C. I got a genotype that nobody else in the world has. Go down to your CCBO. That's how you're going to treat the sick and dying patients of Canada, in a country where we pride ourselves on that. We're supposed to be one of the top countries in the world for our medical system. Then why is cannabis being treated any different? I get the opioid crisis because people are dying in the street. But I don't get all this wasted money on cannabis commercials and fear-mongering, barriers to access, and simply no supply. I'm supplying more people with cannabis right now than fucking most LPs. That's just the truth. Who doesn't love their neighborhood grower? I said it on 420 about 4 years ago. I said it on stage. Who doesn't love their neighborhood grower? And everyone went fucking nuts. You know why? Because it's the truth. Your neighborhood grower always has that different strain. Or they'll say, I got something new in. You know? And you're just waiting to try that new strain. And that's the beauty of cannabis. It's the beauty of not allowing somebody to monopolize this. Don't let them GMO this like they did corn and tomatoes and everything else. Don't let them do it. If you're brave and if you're free, exercise your rights to liberty. Show up, protest the fucking laws this year. Don't show up just to sell fucking weed. Show up and sell weed, I get it. Do what you need to do to make money. But for the real activists out there and the real patriots to this country, we're at war over an issue called cannabis. Now, people don't like the word war because, what, there's no bullets or bombs? It's still war because people are still dying. Long and short of it. Patients who don't have access, though cannabis isn't recognized by Canada as being fully medical yet, you know, they haven't accepted that. Just read Health Canada's site. They'll tell you all kinds of wonderful stuff that cannabinoids can do for your fucking body, but yet they turn around and say, we have to do more research before we can give it, you know, basically a DIN number. They need a DIN number for this fucking, for cannabis to get put back into pharmacopoeia. They're so far behind. They were, okay, this is what my layman's, poor man's view of what they've done. They put the the cart before the horse and expected it to move forward. It doesn't work that way. It's that simple. They put up the plants, they put up multi-billion-dollar companies, they bought off the politicians like Chuck Raffishi and fucking Justin Trudeau and friends. Can never prove it. But I'll fucking call you on it. And Chucky, you know I don't like the fact that you fucking were the chief financial officer of the Liberal Party when they founded the first ever fucking licensed producer in Canada. These are things that you should be up on a royal commission for. And you know, you fraudulent motherfucker. This is one thing. I can't be so nice. You know, the other thing is Chucky also... Chucky, you know, it was good that you were offering $25,000 to help fight towards the first, you know, driving laws. Maybe just turn around and fight it all. I mean, I don't hate on Chucky. I guess I shouldn't hate on Chucky. At least he had engaged me on Twitter and was able to fire back, asking why I didn't pay for RV Smith. And it's like, yeah, dude, keep firing back. You just made your first million. You're the chief financial officer of the Liberal Party, but you're firing back at a medical patient. So let's keep doing this. Let's keep it running because. Again, you cannot fight any battle Whether it's a street fight, whether it's a war, whether it's a fucking battle, you can't fight any of it without having first a full, clear understanding of the dangers and the harms that are coming. And I agree with Stan in here. Clearly, Stan, you're well informed. You've done your research, and that's important. And I'd say what's more important is that we're sharing this information around. People are actually getting a chance to see this information. If we don't share this information, then we're done. So I come on here every day and I say, you know, my wife, she gets sometimes frustrated with me because the show can be pretty boring. Like right now, I'm talking to 14 people. Do I give a shit? By tomorrow, it'll be 300 people. What I give a shit about is planting the seed and letting it grow. If I can get that seed into just one person's head, I've done my job. If you can take this message or any of these messages and share them with one person, I've done my job. Activists act. Suit up, show up, be there, do your job. Good morning, RB. I was just talking about you. I got to come up and see you soon. So let me know when you want to set a time to come up. And good morning to everybody else. Most of these names I cannot pronounce. I'm so used to Facebook because they make you use your real name now. That when I'm back on YouTube, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. But good morning. We're at the 47-minute mark. Here's some drone footage. I want to kick off the end of the show with some positivity. So people, we leave today without... I want you to leave today feeling empowered, inspired, and ready to fight because you are free. Your right to liberty is being infringed on by the federal government of Canada and the nations around the world. Most of the Commonwealth countries and these big corporations, these big, rich families, bury me. Do me a fucking favor. But... in all reality, these are the people controlling global legalization. I predicted on this show 4 years before the World Health Organization changed the classification of cannabis to be medical. So how are you a non-medical user when the World Health Organization, the governing body on health, how are you not medical? Because the Canadian government says it in C-45, all you non-medical users. Now, if you blow off all the smoke and mirrors, they tax non-medical users. They can't tax me. Though they're taxing medical patients right now legally, they can't tax medical DIN numbers. My basic understanding of it anyway. Oh. Let's see what else is going on here. I'm going to switch off to this. Oh no, dude! Just to be clear, Dr. Cannabis, I'm with you. If anything, bring clones, guys. Bring your clones, bring your seeds, and remember, even though Vancouver has threatened police, maybe I'll play that video first. I'll play both the drone video and the one I played yesterday. Only because when the police tried to stop Cannabis Day here, this is how we stopped them. And 60,000 people got to enjoy Cannabis Day here in BC because we stopped them in the early hours of the morning when they tried to stop us with city engineers, a barrage of police, and a bunch of excuses. You guys decide for yourself. Here's the footage, and I'll see you guys back here in about 10 minutes as we just close out the show. And if you have any questions, I will be in the chat here, so I can still engage in the chat. Stan, I suggest that maybe look up the coalition. I can play that after possibly. There's a coalition past the present video on my channel. Maybe check that out, and it shows you how in 2012 I hired John Conroy, let him know what my plans were. He knew I was poor. He knew I couldn't afford this case, but I blew out my visa doing it because I believed in what I was doing. So I killed my own credit in this process. So we open the account, we get it going. You have to then build an army. You have to have representatives in each region of your country, all working together simultaneously. Then you need an off-the-grid chat line that's encrypted, so the government can't listen to your next move or where your next event's going to be and what's going to be going down. I get where you guys are coming from. Bring your clones, bring your seeds, bring your weed, bring whatever you want. Just remember, people are there to protest. And for the people that are there to protest, protest. Exercise your right. But my God, last year, to the people in Toronto that chose to turn around and leave because the police told them you can't protest in a public park. Hello, Sunset Beach is a public park. And the 80,000, 90,000 people are going to be there this year. It's called a protest for a reason. Protest is to go against the law. It's not to abide by it. It's not to be anarchist either. There's a fine line between being an anarchist and being an activist. Very fine line. Anyway, here people love the. I'm going to play this one first. Now, this is Cannabis Day. A couple years back, I had to go. I was covering 2 Cannabis Days, one here and one in Victoria, simultaneously on the same day. So, of course, we didn't expect this. So we dealt with the problem here in Vancouver, and once we were able to get the police back to where they belong, to their sides, things started to change. So I will see you guys when I come back. I see our numbers are starting. This is what's weird. I'm on here for 20 minutes. I'd like to turn on the super chat, and I don't know how. Anybody that wants to put any comments in or whatever on how to start there's a way to do a super chat or something so this can keep going when I'm off the air if y'all want to keep talking. That's what this was for, was to make it so that everybody... what's your question, Seth?
I already know what your answer is, Jason.
Are the hustler in this community? I don't know what you're asking. Are the hustlers
helping or are they hurting?
Again, I would say that hustling happens in all levels of business, because that's what I've learned from working with Tilray, from working with fucking fighting against these guys. I would honestly say hustling is business. Now, lying and deceiving people,
that's not cool.
That's not hustling.
No.
That's just being a lying, thieving fucking thief. Fucking scumbag. Now, if that's the person you're talking about, that's far from me. But that's not a hustler. Now, hustlers don't hurt the community. Hustlers actually provide services for the community. But they do it right. Now, when you're a hustler, then you're actually fucking ripping somebody off, and you're a scumbag.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's not the kind of hustle I support. So you're giving me a broad question that has a barrage of answers. But no, I'm not that guy that thinks that people should be hustling anybody. The government has hustled the whole fucking country here, if anybody hasn't noticed. The government hustled all of us. We're all sitting here scratching our heads wondering why the fuck we all got left out. And if it wasn't for the patience of Canada, we wouldn't even be growing. We'd all be talking about, well, who has the best fucking Tweed has the best stuff, or Bedrocan has the best stuff. Man, that's what the conversation would be. Or it would be the underground. Where do you get your weed from? But again, it wasn't this year that they designed the battleground. The battleground was designed literally by the federal government. The footprint was designed in 2010. Finally, when they made the proposal and they decided they were going to enact the marijuana for medical purposes regulations and annihilate 36,000 gardens in Canada, that's when we filed for a federal injunction. I hired John Conroy. We filed for a federal injunction. It's a restraining order against the federal government to stop them, and which the judge did. The judge stopped them 10 days prior to the execution date of my garden. Fuck, I'm fired up today. We might just go into the second hour today. I don't know. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break here, stretch my legs, and do a couple dabs. Is there any other questions there just while I got this going? Battlefield was defined. It was defined then in their business model. It was called the backgrounder. I used to tell you guys, watch out for the fancy 50. Watch out for the fancy 50. It wasn't going to be 100 LPs. It was only going to be 50. That was their backgrounder. When you actually read 3,000 pages, which most people don't do because they're too fucking lazy or they don't care, but for activists, we do. And when you read those 3,000 pages and you see what the government's actually doing, and then you're working with high-profile lawyers that are actually able to help connect some of the dots, and you're meeting these people, and they're trying to actually buy you, you got to remember, I was offered a $100,000 contract. I turned it down. I know it sounds fucked up, but I turned it down because I would have had to turn all you down. I would have had to fucking drop the Allard trial. Well, it wasn't even the Aller trial. Drop my ambitions for the injunction was their language. Drop my ambitions for the injunction and they'll give me a job. And I could have fucked this country and looked after Jason. It's just not in me. Stupid me. Anyway, I'm going to take a break here. I'd like to have the second half of the show, or at least whatever amount of time we go over today. I'm late out of the gate, so this is the first commercial break. I've literally ranted for about an hour straight. So please remember to hit the bell up top. Shout out to our sponsors, Green Planet Nutrients, Pacific Northwest Garden Supply, Sublimator. Geez, I could just go right down the list. Gorilla Tents, T&B Naturals. Anyway, I'll worry about that more at the end of the show. There's just enough sponsors there. It is kind of a day to get into some shatter, so I'm going to start to break into this kind of shit and try and figure out what the hell happened to it. I don't know, it kind of bent itself over. Oh, I see. You know when you got good stable shatters, when you're able to just kind of handle it like this? It's stabler. Remember back in the day when you got really the snap shatter? It would just fucking, you didn't, no matter what, you didn't want to drop it or it would break into 1,000 pieces. I don't know why people aren't processing it that way anymore, but, you know. But you guys are fucking awesome. You wouldn't be tuning into this show unless you cared like I do about fucking the plant. And that's what makes you fucking awesome. So just remember that. Though I sit here and I curse and I swear, my aggressions and my problems that I feel like addressing is the federal government of Canada and the international global monopolization of other countries and free peoples. And I'll go back again. We're supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. Now I'd like to see when the brave starts and when the free starts and ends. We'll see you guys after break. Again, this is Cannabis Canada. After this will be you'll see a drone footage in the second commercial. Will be a drone footage, shoots up over 420. It was the first time anybody flew a drone up over a crowd here in Vancouver. Everybody was always looking for that perfect panoramic 360 shot, so everybody would rent hotel rooms and get the highest hotel room they could to get the best shot of 420 for the newspaper. Well, we decided to take it a step further, and before they passed the laws to not fly a drone up, we flew a drone up over the crowd to show people why they had to move us. So it is what it is. But RB, get a hold of me in PM. Let's figure out a time we can get together. I'll come up and see you. And yeah, I'm not going to close the show off just yet, I don't think. Please share this around. We'll see. I want to try and stick these to an hour, but today's topic ended up pulling off of... It pulled off of a letter and a conversation with my lawyer into this thing of the government now hurting multiple patients and people. And that's what fundamentally at the end of the day should matter for all of us as Canadians. Or this, what I'm about to play, could be our future. Because I can tell you now, the Vancouver mayor, our new mayor, careful what I say, our new mayor here, this mayor does not like cannabis and has threatened to release his dogs, being the police, on Cannabis 420. I believe it's because they want to take it like they did in Saskatchewan and turn it into an event. It's a celebration. No, it's not. I ain't fucking celebrating. I'm protesting. See you guys in a bit. Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. We're sitting here at the Art Gallery. It's 8:30 in the morning. We got a few people that are standing around that are saying they're not going to go anywhere. And believe me, there's going to be a lot more as the crowd grows. So will the activists continue to make their moves.
Just remember me the right way. Want you to keep in mind today better than yesterday. And for my fellow companions, all I could do was pray. But remember me like your memory, just like a fragment of a kin, friend, or enemy. So many enemies trying to get into me. I'm just a broken part, feeling detached off. Cause trying to get in this game is like a scratch off.
Opus, otherwise known as McMahon. Brother, we go back a lot of years. You know, West Coast is in the house. What do you think of what the hell's going on with this?
It was interesting. You know, the tent started going up. The city officials came over, and I noticed they had the biggest guy they could find from the city wearing the Viz vest. But we stood up for our rights. They had the cops sort of all hanging around the outside, so there's their backup, obviously, in case, like, what are we thinking? We're gonna jump the city guy?
We're just here assembling on the stairs outside the Vancouver Art Gallery. I'm trying to have a peaceful protest here today. The city knows that, but it looks like they are out in force. Just remember my name.
Why aren't you guys on the perimeter? You were on the perimeter before, and now you're right in the crowd with a camera. What's the reasoning for the camera in the crowd? You should be on the perimeter because now you're engaging the activists, you're engaging our cameras. Go back to the perimeter where you belong.
We're just keeping the peace.
Peace.
I'm amazed because it's been 15 years we've been doing this and we've never ever seen this sort of provocative stance from the police.
To have that police presence there and to use those intimidation and harassment tactics the way they did is outrageous.
There was non-communication. You know, we didn't even know.
And he said, if you keep selling cannabis, we're going to arrest you.
It was an organized effort. It was almost like it was rehearsed. It was almost like it was funded from not the VPD.
I was scared that they were actually going to get away and deter people from Cannabis Day.
I said, you know, we're going to start selling cannabis. That's our protest. You know, the laws against selling cannabis are why we have Cannabis Day. So he said that he understood that and that they were going to be realistic.
Back, he's under arrest.
These guys got extremely violent, extremely fast.
Shame on the city of Vancouver. Shame on the VPD.
We have no need for all these officers. They're worrying all of these people here. You should send them back somewhere else away from here. We don't need to have this police presence.
Knowing that we were not violent and they continue to push us. And then when passive civil disobedience and passive resistance is implied, why use mace?
We were not violent. You know, I mean, it was excessive. They were trying to push me back.
Look, you guys don't need to be here. You're causing problems by being here. You could be inciting a riot.
Don't let listen to me. Anybody at that booth, you don't let anybody give out a dab. You tell them all, don't give out a freaking dab. Don't share any joints with anybody that you don't know. Period. It's very important right now because they got us all. They're watching us and they know some of us just left. Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. I've got Owen Smith here and Ted Smith, and we are on the island. Guys, what do you think about what's going on here in Vancouver?
It is a sad day, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but you know, our soldiers have, you know, stood their ground, and hopefully we'll be able to move ahead and have a better Cannabis Day next year.
This prohibition causes more and more pain and suffering as all of its horrible parts are exposed.
Cannabis Day, its roots are in medical, and clearly the MMPR just got ruled unconstitutional. So how dare they try to step in and shut down Cannabis Day?
So sad after 20 years of peaceful events that the city would do this. It's not, you know, the influence of cannabis causing all this harm. It's the law, again, just causing harm in people's lives.
The prohibition that's held up by the federal government is causing all of these problems. And Vancouver City is trying to look good for the government by trying to crack down on these people, but it looks terrible. We have a poor, you know, sick people who are being stepped on in the street.
It's just the saddest day in cannabis activism in this country's history.
activists will unite because police took a bad stand today in doing what they did in Vancouver, and I think it is a sad day for Canada.
We're going to continue on this together. We got to stick together.
Hey yo, it's Paradise Splits, sipping on a fifth, looking in the sky like this is where I love to live.
We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Smoke weed like Bob Marley, getting high and I like to party. Mary Jane stimulates the brain, she blow the smoke, take away the pain. My dream house in my greenhouse with a flat screen and a big couch, half baked with a big bomb. Smoke it all till the weed's gone. Smell good, my weed strong, my money stack and my weed's long. Smoking Keisha, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg when I'm around the reef. It's beautiful when I roll up, it's like fine art when I burn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Get high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. Grinding all this weed, we gon' have to break this up. Mary Jane's my main bitch, won't you come get fucked up? Oh, you don't smoke no weed, well I can't say what's up. In memory, yo whack ass, when I light this up. Rolling it up when I'm blowing the weed, smelling the smoke and you know that it's me. Puffing on good and you know who it be. Smoke like a hippie, come fuck with a G. Light it up when I blaze one, light it up when I blaze one. We gon' smoke piff when that haze come. Smoke piff when that haze come. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed.
Ever since 2 U.S. states legalized marijuana, the company called Green Planet carries.
Alright, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. As we continue, I'm going to go a little bit over today only because, quite frankly, you guys got me stoked. I'm looking at the analytics and I'm seeing you guys are just banging off the conversations and I'm loving it from low temp tabs. And let's end this on a positive, because the one thing I learned through doing the coalition was that empowerment is everything. So if you try to empower one another, educate one another about the negative, but then finish it off with the positive. As you've seen there that day, though it was negative in the morning, and we had to stand our ground, and I warned the police they were going to start a riot. You know, I mean, you get out of here with your cameras. They were using facial recognition and stingray technology to try to scare activists from free speech. So those who think we're moving into a police state, maybe you're right. You know, maybe I'm a new convert to start to see that, because what happened that day was unfortunate. My daughter even took some mace, and she was far back from the. It was a small. When you look at the larger area, it was a small scramble that they had, or scramble that they had, where mace did come out. The officers that chose to use mace, there was no reason. There were so many innocent kids and people in the crowd. There was no reason to release mace. The officers were not in any danger. It's just people all locked arms, like I've taught you guys. Lock arms. Doesn't matter if there's only 10 of you or if there's 10,000 of you. You see your brothers and sisters getting arrested, jump in, lock arms. It's a protest. They might be getting arrested for sales. It don't matter. It's still a protest. The police need to stand the line and keep the public safe, not incite a riot. That's what they almost did. Anyway, positive talks. I got my dab rig out. Now, I've converted to pens a while ago. Not the pens you guys are talking about. A lot of those, I just don't like the fake terpenes and stuff. And you have to use a carrier. And usually that has to be an organic terpene or something to be your carrier for those other pens. Versus like the Evolve, like this one here. I just take my top off here. And then in here, I got a 4-banger chamber. So the traditional Evolve, you guys will remember, has 2. That's it inside there. So this one has four different bangers, and then you just kind of load it up with your shatter. And it's tricky because you do lose some in these pens, I'll be honest. But at the same time, if you're a hard hitter, I've got dab rig out for a reason. We'll be doing some low temp dabs and see how long you can wait before you do your dab. This is something where I've learned from Vicky. I'm like, it's going to get too cold. You're going to pooch my dab. You're going to pooch my dab. No, I got this. And she hits me with the perfect dab every time. And it's like, she's like, yeah, if there was ever an asset that you can have in a wife, I'm telling you, it is a good wife that can dab you when you can't dab yourself. So, oh shit, the stuff that I talk about in here.
I'm a hand bomber.
Yeah, Vicky's. I'm gonna show them that. I'm gonna show them that here. Now we've talked about hand bombs, so you guys may not know what we're talking about here, but we will get to that. We'll show you that. But let me finish with the Evolve pen first, because I'm not sponsored by Evolve. I'd like to be, but I've used these pens for years now, mainly when we're on the road. You can just pull over, get out of the car, fucking do a few fucking dabs, and you get a nice pull. You get a nice comfort, and most important. You get a real, like you would off your dab rig, you get a real hit. Otherwise, you're just, if you're a weekend warrior, you don't need that big of a rip because you'll green yourself out. But aside from that, what can I say? Yeah, I love this. So you guys got this going in this chat. Keep it up. One thing I can also do, once I figure this super chat out, I think I'm gonna buy YouTube Premium today. They've got this new thing that they're selling, but because the audience base is so big out there, I'm just learning how to curve this in. And for those that offered to be moderators or administrators within this show, if you're interested, please send your information to cannabisincanada@gmail.com, and we will go from there. I do not have a problem at all. I have a great team of administrators on Facebook. We're just building out the LinkedIn group. We're going to throw 9,000 people in there today and see what happens. You know, that's what I'm doing later today. So this is ongoing, building out our social media platforms. Most importantly, where I was birthed from was 2007, right here. We're now in 2019, so 12 years later, I'm still here talking shit and saying, what's up? Let's smoke. Let's party. Only I couldn't interact with you like this before. Before, we used to always have to... It was so hard to... So much gets lost in translation when you're communicating with each other and you don't understand exactly what you're saying. And if there's any comments that weren't getting posted, so be it.
That's only $20 a month, the premium thing. Is it worth it? Nice. Med THC Ontario has it. $20 a month. That's cheap.
Med THC, yeah, no, I think for whatever reason, they've offered me $11 a month, so I'm not sure how that works, but it probably you know what it is? It's probably the conversion over to Canadian dollars. No, it's probably the conversion over to from American to Canadian. But still, I mean, right now I pay so much for Premiere. I've paid $800 just to have broadcast software, so I have to make that decision. I tried out that YouTube Buddy. Let's see if that works. But
YouTube Premium might be worth it, I think. To do that super chat and shit like that, I think that'd be fun.
But this new stuff, yeah, like this super chat, like I went on to a couple of shows and just to see, you know, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Like, I've been doing this for a long time. I should be having this figured out, right? So I'm thinking to myself, what am I keep doing wrong? And I can't find that exact thing other than to go and buy a bunch of vanity hits or vanity numbers. And I don't want that. I've never dialed my channel, which is part of the reason I survived the YouTube purge. What I mean by that is I don't bot my channels. I don't, you know, if it says there's 18 people watching, then there's 18. If it says there's 20, then there's 20. At the end of the show, I don't turn around and get a robot to go watch my show for 4 seconds or a software program script to watch my program for 5-6 seconds, whatever it is that the algorithm needs to see to consider it a click, and then you get a view. Now that runs all night long. All of a sudden you have 10,000 views. And I'll tell anybody, if you see 10,000 views, you should see 10% comments. It's that simple. You should see 10% likes. So if there's 10,000 views, there should be at least 1,000 comments and 1,000 likes. And if there's not, then those 10,000 views were probably, yeah, there's a lot of speculation around that. But this is what the corporations look for. If that's what you're looking for when you're looking around, look for people that have those real legitimate numbers. You'll see it because their videos will always match up to the 10% rule. There'll be 10% likes, 10% comments, or 10% for all the views, 10% of total views. So again, if it's 1,000 views, there should be 100 comments and 100 likes, you know, or something like that. Not necessarily 100 likes. It's harder to get likes. Not everybody remembers to click that button, but yeah, you can buy these things, and people know that, so it's making it harder. I know YouTube's starting to clamp down on it. They did have the YouTube purge, as we talked about. Many channels got shut down. People that were buying vanity numbers to make it look like hundreds of thousands of people were watching them, when really it was like me right now, 20 people watching, which I'm okay with.
That's pretty awesome.
You know, I'm now over an hour into this show, talking my head off, and you know, we're closing in on 420, so I definitely wanted the motive of the show today to cover the government thing. Now that all that's out of the way, let's talk fucking weed. Let's talk getting high. You know, I hate using the word high. I say let's get medicated, but you know, it is what it is. It's also hard here on my end, because what really sucks, and this is part of the reason I liked Facebook's chat, is because when you guys make a comment, and I realize this on break, it doesn't roll through to me either on my cell phone or on my computer. Your comment doesn't roll through to me for about a minute after you post it. So I'm already on to the next topic before I even see the question. So yeah, just so you guys understand, there's a bit of a delay. So if you wonder why I'm not responding right away, it's because it takes a little while to come through. But man, yeah, definitely, I hope you're all lifted, Freddie. I hope everybody takes Fearless Fred's fury and takes that and says, you know what, stay lifted. Because that's what I end every show saying the same thing. Punch up, don't punch down. Just think about that in life. You're punching down, you're usually bringing somebody that's already down. If you're punching up, you're shooting for the stars, trying to better yourself. I'd also like to use the words collective peer empowerment and collective peer action, because fundamentally that's what the coalition was based on, motivated on, and commissioned on. And quite frankly, it was volunteer work of 15,000 registered members that we know of, plus however many that never registered because they didn't want to be on any official record of a controversial coalition of patients taking on the government illegally fundraising. You gotta remember, in this country, you have to be a charity to fundraise for those brainiacs out there that haven't fucking done their homework. But you can't just go out and raise $300,000 and say it's for you. You know, it doesn't work that way. You have to do things in certain ways, and enough said on that. Well, stay tuned for the Coalition documentary coming out soon. Like, I don't know when it's going to be complete. I didn't realize production of a documentary could take so long. But you know what? I'd rather know that it's done right than just throw something together because I feel like I need to get something out there. I hope you guys feel inspired enough just in the fact that we won. But anyway, temps, dabs. Now, I was just talking about my wife and my love for her ability to give me those dabs. And it's often because it takes, if one person can do it, like hand bombing, like I just put those, I'm going to grab another slab. Yeah, it's easier with two. But at the same time, it's a temp. For me, I know this looks black and nasty, but this, you guys don't realize we dab all day. This is our job. We get paid to dab to a degree. It's what we do. So when it comes to saying, oh, your banger's black and you're not cleaning it, I'm not one of those guys. You know, I'm straight a hood rat, man. Fucking straight up. I don't give a fuck. I'll fucking bang off this just as much as I'll bang off your fucking 10,000 piece of squeaky clean glass, you know? Whatever.
I must admit, you know what, I was in the beginning. Now that I'm a daily dabber, I'm just not good at, you know, we dab out of a chazzy nail all the time. We just don't care.
Now, we are going to bring out our e-nail for the show, just for the purpose, because the torch, we realized, and it's why I started bringing the pen on the show. I have a purple one for Vicky and a black one for me. And we both have the same pen, and these are the ones that we travel with. So it was important. You're right, bro. Is what like 77 on YouTube. Filming is easy part, and editing now there is the chore. And you're right, my friend. Guess this. I've got fucking 13. Oh no, what does it work out to now? Just over 3 terabytes of recorded information. 3 hours of John Conroy, 1 hour of Kurt Tusaw, 1 hour of Scott Wilkins. You know, and the list goes on. You got Justin Loizos, you got Maurice and Linda Fazio out of Ontario, you've got myself, you've got Kelly Colasanti and Rebecca Colasanti. You got a lot of different people that have already been filmed. So now that we've got all this content, then on my YouTube channel, thank God YouTube just made it so you can't download your own content anymore. So once you upload it, make sure you back up your data. Anyway, on that note, you know, luckily I backed all my shit up into backup drives on my server. So put that shit out there and make sure that that's going, because these older shows, when I combine, this is just what I filmed that hasn't been released. Again, on 3 terabytes. So it's a lot. I need an editor that can literally sit here with me and wants to work on this project and make it happen, lives in the Lower Mainland and has the skill set to make it happen and wants to do it for the right reasons and not for the money or not for the... That's my biggest problem that I'm having is everybody, and again, and I get it, everybody wants to make money, but at the same time, hell, I didn't make any money. You know, I went all across this country filming people, you know, with my equipment and making sure I got it right, and I would say out of all of them, maybe one needs to be refilmed that wouldn't be able to be used for the documentary, and then the rest of it's already on YouTube. So, you know, you can go, if you just punch in The Coalition, Jason Wilcox on any YouTube search, you're going to get all the Coalition videos and updates over a 4-year period. So out of that, we got all kinds of B-roll, you know, to talk about when there's a voiceover, because then I'll be narrating the documentary. I didn't really want to be interviewed in it. I wanted to narrate it because I wanted the story told holistically, not just the lawyer's side, but the plaintiff's side as well as the client's side, the person that's on the hook for the bills, and the people that raised the $300 and whatever $1,000 we raised for Mr. Conroy in the Coalition Trust account at John Conroy's office. So anyway, low temp dabs. Somebody was bringing this up. Where is it? Well, fearless friend, honestly, this goes to anybody in the chat. If you are an editor and you feel you're at the level that you can do, look at some of the shows that I've edited myself, and I don't feel I'm equipped to do justice to the Coalition. And if you feel you have the skill set to do that, then I'm happy to work with you. That's what Dropbox is for, and Google Mail. I mean, we can transfer large files, or if need be, just mail a passport you know, in the mail, so you have the content so that you're able to actually put it together. There's all kinds of different things that we're able to do, but what does matter is that, again, I won't put that information out. I think I'm going to do 2 movies out of that. There'll be one that'll be the documentary, but then there's also one that I'm going to call the Conroy Chronicles, because, like I said, John talks for 3 hours, but he talks a lot about his life and how he became a social justice lawyer and how he started working in the prisons. And I didn't know that out here in Vansticky that they used to actually give the prisoners weed so that they stopped the violence in the jail. And they did it for years. Nobody did shit. They just did it under the table quietly. Because it'd be like literally when the forest industry went down in BC, cannabis industry went up, and BC Bud was born. So, but explain the journey. I know when I narrate, I gotta explain. That's the thing, is that that's what I mean by I almost need somebody that I can sit with on Skype and say, okay, and I can actually watch the footage they're watching. Now, professional editors can do this just like I can here. We can communicate from around the world, and we're able to then sit there and say, okay, we're going to put these clips together, and then I'll narrate over the top of it so the timing is right. So then that would be where we would put together maybe the first segment, which is the first interview with the B-roll, whatever, it's done. Then I do a voiceover that would be explaining what they're seeing. So that's where myself and the editor is going to need to have direct dialogue, and it's going to take a lot of work. But for those that have the passion and the time and the willingness to share this, it will help lives. It will help people understand what happened. Most importantly, it will lend truth to fiction. There's a lot of people out there that talk conjecture and talk a lot of shit, quite frankly. And then there's people that actually do stuff. And the difference is this documentary was never intended for Canada. I didn't expect to see a second coalition rising. I really didn't. I didn't see that. I thought for sure after the government got their ass handed to them twice, 3 times if you include R.V. Smith and the privacy case. We kicked their ass so bad. Yeah, how could you not tell the story? I mean, how many people do you know that you've been able to sit down and smoke a joint with that said, you know what? I restrained the government, put them on trial for $1.2 million, didn't make a cent, and I'm poor as fuck now. And however, the whole country gets to grow cannabis. Now I can bury that story, or I can turn it into a documentary so the whole motherfucking world knows how the footprint was done in this country by the medical patients of Canada, paving the driveway to legalization. Low temp dabs. Let's get back on this dabbing thing. I'm trying to stay on it. I noticed somebody see my CBD jar out. My wife's sitting on the side here. She was able to put together a couple CBD caps, big ones. When I say big, it's a regular cap size.
I'd say probably, I've weighed them before, it's about a half gram, to be honest. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's about a half gram dose, so that's, you know, you don't want to be taking it unless you can afford.
It's about 0.35.
Unless you can afford it, or you have access to CBD that you can afford it. Again, half of a pill of this size would have been just powder, and then she would have filled a little bit of oil in there as a carrier.
Also CBD oil.
So then that's a delivery mechanism, you know. So then you pop one of those pills, and it was really to help go into the second half of this show. So next up will be talking dabs. So now Vicky, I'm going to let her, not let, but ask or request that she at least come over and do the heating. I think she's got the torch anyway. Come over and do the heating, and we'll show you guys what we mean by these hand bombs. It's not that they're hard, it's just knowing the right temperature when you don't have an e-nail that you can dial in the temperature, you know, which that's what I love about e-nails. When you're doing it this way, you really gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. Do you have a thick glass on the bottom of your banger down here? Is it really thick or is it thin? That's going to determine how long, you know, you take for your dabs. And some people have dab timers, you know, look it up. Yeah, there's actually apps that are dab timers. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. YouTube Premium, see, get it now.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get it after the show.
Pass me the tray.
Damn, that jar was full to the top. Oh yeah, well again, you gotta remember CBD, the molecule, is one of the heaviest molecules of anything we have around. Quite frankly, it's literally the heaviest. They can't even see you.
I don't want to be. I look like
Alright. Oh, use your phone timer, roughly 20 seconds. Yes, roughly 20 seconds. Which banger, though? Here's one for you, big balls. Sorry, man, it's your username. But seriously, that's your banger. Now, there's new bangers out that have really, really thick glass on the bottom. There's a reason for that. Glass retains the heat longer. So your banger might work for 20 seconds, where another banger might not.
No, I know. Johnny's had this fancy one. It was like a minute 30 for his. It was crazy, remember?
Timers will work, and I agree with you because Vicky and I use timers, but you have to dial your timer into your banger.
Yeah.
And if you're using a glass banger versus titanium, all this shit matters, you know, because it's extremely hard to dial in the temperature freehand like we're doing right now.
Almost the quality of your quartz. There's a
the quartz.
Blah blah blah. Like I said, I know our banger's Chazzy and.
who put FTW?
Who we are. Right. This is just who we are.
Risk it. Fuck the world.
Pass me some dabs, babe.
I don't know. FTW to me has always meant fuck the world, but.
Pass the dabs.
Oh, down here.
So I can hand bomb for you.
Oh, okay. All right, so she's already heated it, so you guys can see it's cool. It's obviously cooling. She's got her own timer, but again, you guys can't really see it, but we got really thick glass on the bottom of this, so it lasts a little bit longer. Low temp dabs matter, and we're also going to talk about dabbing CBD because there's a lot of questions out there about the CBD.
Ball. I don't know if you can see that.
No, no, it's focused.
Ready?
It's focused in here. Yep. Oh.
Woo, I
was gonna say, you're trying to.
I cut that into like a third.
You're trying to green me out. Jesus.
I'll clear the chamber every time. I don't have a problem doing that. When we're chilling with the Beer Brothers at the events, they're like, Vicky, I'm like, Mikey for that commercial. Mikey, just call
That's
Mikey.
all that's left.
Should clear the chamber.
She put a piece like that. Stoner moments on CNC.
You're welcome, babe.
I apologize, everybody. If the police ever come to your door, I gotta catch up for a minute here, guys. But if the police ever come to your door, this is how to handle them. Pay attention because it's important. It might save your life. With new inspectors and new green teams starting to formulate how they're going to address legalization and inspect for plants without warrants, etc., I'll remind you of your constitutional right of the threshold of the doorway. The police cannot enter your house without a warrant, no matter what they say. See you after break.
That was awesome.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, here with that for a second.
I don't think that's necessary. And you got the top one up top, and the second one here and here.
Yeah, I'm gonna film it. There's 4 of them. Yeah,
Just let me talk to
yeah,
him here.
there's 5 of them.
I gotta find out who their supervisor is. You guys got a supervisor that wants to do the talking?
Wilcox. Mr. Wilcox. These gentlemen coming up here are the inspection team.
Yes.
And they would like to do the inspection, but before they do that, they ask us to come in and make sure everything is safe for them. There's nobody hiding in closets or anything like that.
Exactly, and I believe that this case has been settled in Ontario, that
Yeah.
the police can no longer come in for home inspections.
No.
Oh, we can to come in and assist them if you allow us to.
I'm not allowed. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to allowing permission.
Come and talk to these gentlemen.
I mean, I don't have a problem standing here with you, or if you guys want to stand even right here. I mean, at the doorway. I mean, I've contacted legal counsel. That's
Yes,
why.
we have.
It's nothing against you guys personally. Legal counsel said if they show up there with 3 cop cars, then no, you don't have to let them through your door.
No.
So we can phone Health Canada too.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Dwayne, do you want to explain what your
So yesterday you were okay with 2 officers coming in the house?
No, I listened to 2, but I see 6,
No,
and
it's only 4 of us.
4, but
The
I
rest-
see.
the
Sorry, I'm looking at 3 cop cars as well. What bothered me is the gentleman I spoke to. I think was it you that was standing there yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it was yourself.
Yeah.
And I did say, I'm feeling bad because I don't want to seem like the bad guy here, but at the same time, you guys are showing up in force. My neighbors right now, God knows what they think, and I have nothing to hide. When all said and done, I'm hoping that we can all get along. But this has been, how many times have you guys been to my house and in my basement?
Well, this is the first time on the public.
And what
safety
is your
team.
reason for needing to come in the house for safety, aside from needing to
Just
protect them?
making sure everything is to code.
You're police officers.
No, no. This is by law enforcement.
Okay, so you're coming in to do that. I'm saying, why do you need
If they're
him?
part of our team, they come for our safety.
We only come in for their safety.
So again, against my request to not have them come in for your safety, you're going to go ahead and tell me that I have to allow these officers into my house without a warrant? Because it amounts to a warrantless search.
I'm not going to tell you anything.
I mean, it amounts to a warrantless search. That's what it does.
Yes.
And you're asking me to let officers into the house that are then going to want to do a plant count and everything else for no reason.
No.
Unless we can agree that there's going to be some sort of, not 6 or 7 of you's coming in, but rather that your team.
This is the process. One of us would stay out here with you and
That's
all the
fine.
other occupants. 3 of us would go through the house, make sure there's nobody hiding or any weapons.
Yeah,
any weapons.
No.
You don't search for weapons. You guys can get a warrant if you want to search
Yes,
for
get a
weapons.
warrant.
Let me finish.
No, you won't be searching my house.
No.
Okay, let me finish explaining the process. 3 of us go through, we make sure there's nobody hiding in here. We come out, then the inspection team goes in while we stay outside.
There ain't nobody hiding in here. There ain't
No.
nothing for you to really have any probable cause to believe
Yes.
I didn't say we did.
Well,
We're
then
coming
you're
here
again.
to assist them, and they want us
And
to
I'm
do it.
saying
So,
that my understanding
That's
is that there's a legal case that you guys are
That's
not
fine.
allowed in. So I'm saying that
No.
if they would like to come in and if they would like to go down and do their jobs, they're welcome
with
to.
them.
I'll stand at the door with you so you know you're safe and that they're safe because I'm with you.
Well, we don't know that
And we
because
don't
we
have
don't
to
know if there's
worry.
anybody else in
He'll
the house.
bring you
That's
down.
that's why they ask us
Has
to
there
come.
been any threat to you guys? And you guys have been to my house 5 times.
Yeah.
And there's
Never
never
been
been a threat to your officers.
No.
Okay,
So
Jason,
call's yours.
what we'll do is we'll just get an entry warrant.
That's
Okay, I mean, it could just be so much easier just to let things roll. So we're not here to stop you from what you want to do, just to make sure the electrical and everything's to code.
I just don't
You know,
understand
10
why
minutes.
all the
This
officers,
is part of,
guys.
this is part of our team, Jason. Okay, it's nothing to do with you. This is
Okay,
the
am I
fourth-
going to get
we
this
go to
every year,
places-
guys? Well, I mean, I don't want to. Once this is done, am I going to get this crap every year?
yeah.
Probably not, but this is the first time our section's been involved. We
Oh,
may have had
there
police
we go.
issues, but it's never been the public safety team. Okay.
Public safety team.
Yeah.
Warrant.
Okay, so
Different
the,
cities called the electrical safety.
the searching for my house.
We're not
You're
doing
telling me you're going to
searches.
get. No, you just told me you want
Yeah.
to search for people in my home.
Yes.
And that's my problem that I have. I don't want you
Jason,
going through my
we're
closets.
really okay. We'll just get the entry warrant. We'll do things the proper way. That's the way you prefer.
No, I'm asking you why it is that your team can't just go in. Why you need to get a warrant?
It's city policy. We don't need to get a warrant. You're not allowing us to follow
Because he
city
wants
policy.
to search that. He wants to search my house. That's what he just said to me.
It's been
Yesterday I
recorded.
told you I'd take 2 officers and walk down there, but he's saying he wants to search every house in my room. It's like, to get downstairs, we walk straight down. What the hell is the side bedrooms or anything
Yeah,
else have
what's
to do
that
with
got
anything?
The police have ways they follow. They do things too. So it's obviously you can't accept the way we want to do things. We'll just.
Well, we
do
got it all on
entry warrant.
camera, so come on in. Let's go. Bring your guys in. Let's film you guys doing what you're doing. We'll just see what my lawyers have to say after that, and it'll be a lot easier.
Well, we come in, but you guys stay outside.
No.
No, you guys aren't gonna search my
No
house.
fucking way.
That's how we do it. If you don't want that, that's fine.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for your time, Jason.
Thank you. I'll show that to my lawyer. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm recording.
Sorry, run over there, guys. I actually ran over that a little bit overlay there. I was talking to my phone at the same time, which is picking me up right now. Trying to explain to you guys, this was before that particular exchange is what really riled me up as a grower, because up until that point I was underground. Though I was doing my live show on YouTube and I knew that the government and the police knew what we were up to, they didn't give a shit about that part. I'm not sure at what time the Abbotsford police or city, you gotta remember, I also have a video on YouTube, look it up. Jason Wilcox talks to the city police board, the board of directors of the police force. Yeah, address them about having a compassion club in their town so I could help sick people have medicine. See, this is what real activism is. And it's where it starts and ends. And as this show started with, when does freedom, the home of the, again, land of the free, home of the brave, you're living up your freedoms. When are you going to be brave enough to exercise your rights? That's an important thing. Wow, am I feeling that CBD kick in? And my wife, honestly, I almost got greened out on my own show, so I apologize. But actually, I don't apologize. You guys would have had a great meme for the next fucking 20 years of my life.
That would be pretty funny.
It's going to be replayed forever. Freaking here's Wilcox screening out. Cannabis activist screens out live on a show. Wife dabs him.
So goes out low temp dabs and then he goes out and you're like,
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the low temp. Don't worry, just do the low temp. But honestly, I am smoked. I am absolutely. I'm still trying to recover what I'm even going to say here. But
and that was, for anybody asking, just Beer Brothers Shatter, not turp sauce, nothing fancy.
Oh, yeah, if you
Straight
guys-
good, man. We're both BHO fans.
if you guys all know pizza boxes, if you're into BHO, but yeah, that's what. Yeah, kind of like the slabby stuff. Huh? You don't need to hold it up there. I don't think they'll be able to see it as good as they will, just even from here. The reason they can't really see it. No, I wouldn't. No. Don't, because it'll. You might lose focus with me. Leave it there. Whoa. Just leave it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, that looks good.
So, anyway, stability again and being able to handle your shatter without shattering it, like I just did, dumbass. Thank God it's not cold. It's getting a little bit warmer here in BC. It's a nice sunny day. And I'm going to be getting out there to play. But most importantly, I wanted everybody to see those officers. I don't know why I carried this into the second thing, but I'm definitely feeling that CBD. I'm telling you, if you're having a bad morning and you're fired up about something like the government messing with medical patients still after all the stuff we've been through, if that's your thing and you can get your hands on really good CBD, again, and can grant yourself a 0.5 gram single dose, which is extremely high. I mean, honestly, you don't need that much. It does. If people say it doesn't make you high, I will tell you, yes, it does, in a different way. Not in a way that you can't hold the conversation like I am right now. More like an anxiety pill would calm you down, like a Valium would make you calm. This shit does the same thing. It makes you calm. It's fucking... It's cool.
I was just about to say, if you're on your way out, if you're going to a doctor's appointment, you're feeling stressful, or a teacher's PTA meeting after school, you're gonna do some grocery shopping, you're hitting the mall today. Any of those things can be very, very enjoyable, but also very stressful.
Yes.
So if you're heading out and meeting the world and any of those challenges ahead of you, I would absolutely, like Jason's right, I started originally with a 1/4 gram, and that was a nice. I'm up to like a 0.5 gram. But a good 1/4 gram in there.
Do I got my grinder over there?
And you'll be groovy for like 6 hours. Grinder? Who's smoking weed?
I'm gonna smoke weed.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Just because you don't smoke flower, man. She's like total dabber. She doesn't smoke any flower, and then it's our own connoisseur flower, top freaking shit in the country, and she still snubs her nose up at it. It's like, yeah, okay, princess. Spoiled. We're spoiled in British Columbia, and it's not. We don't do that in any way. I know that we're blessed here, and it's through fighting. And again, what I like to do is show people that since 2007, and we're now in 2019. I've been here on the air teaching you guys either how to grow, updating you on the regulations, updating you on the government's manipulation, teaching you how to fill out the forms, doing all the stuff applicable that to activism and advocacy, and there's no donate button. So just the history, provenance that Cannabis Canada has isn't just in forming a coalition. That fight you just seen between me and those officers when they brought the Guns and Gang Squad at the time here in Vancouver. Those who live in Canada, will understand what I'm talking about when it comes to police showing up at your door and it's a Guns and Gang Squad. Now, the reason they do that is intimidation. They bring their biggest officer. You see, the guy I was talking to, I could hardly even fucking cover his face out without covering myself out, because he was just so big. He took up the doorway. And if you could hear in that video a few times, you can hear the door creak. There's a reason I'm sitting like this on the damn door. Now, will an officer override you and say, "Shut up, punk," smash your head into the ground and possibly arrest you? Yes. Don't kid yourself. I ain't saying Popo's nice. Never said Popo's nice. What I was trying to show you is how to not give them the threshold of the doorway and keep the camera back. And nowadays, with the modern day cameras, they don't know if you're live, going straight to Facebook, and they can't get it. Even if they take your phone and smash it, the footage is already up on Facebook or on YouTube. So your best ammo has always been a camera. Even back then, that was a handy cam. But they knew that if they came in, I said, "Come on in, guys. I got my camera going. Come on in. Just do what you want to do. Or come in and arrest me." You know why they didn't come in? They said, "No, we'll just get an administrative warrant." And what that meant was that they were going to get a kick-in warrant. They were going to come kick my fucking door in and put my child at risk and put me at risk. And that was more fear-mongering. Most people would kowtow to that. They'd be like, "Oh, shit, fuck that. I don't need an administrative warrant. You're scaring the shit out of me. Fancy fucking words. Fuck you." Just learn the basic languages from other activists and say, "Stop. This is my house. You can't come in." And no, I'm not. Usually their number one thing is like that officer said, "You don't mind if we just step in and clear the house, for the safety of them." And well, absolutely, I do mind. It amounts to a warrantless search. Is it easy talking to Guns and Gang Squad when out here 32 kids just killed each other in a gang war? I mean, honestly, 32 kids fighting each other in the region that I was growing in at the time. One of the gangs was from that city. So they were fighting each other and killing each other, literally. Largest gang fight out here, I'm thinking, times I've lived in BC. But anyway, all that shit was going down. And when these motherfuckers show up at your door, you don't put their face on the internet and think that they're not going to pull you over and throw a kilo of coke in the back of your car, lock your ass up. Don't fuck with Popo. You think you're a tough guy, don't fuck with Popo. Unless you're ready to go to jail. And that's just dumbass. Just put dumbass in the back of your head before you do it. I'm just trying to be honest here and speak truth, man. And I'm feeling high as fuck too, so I'm probably speaking a little more assertively. But you know what? It is what it is. You've seen the oldest officers stand down. They knew they couldn't come through the threshold of the doorway. They knew I offered them in if I could film them. They knew that wouldn't work because they knew they would be in breach of the law, like I cited. This has already been settled and constitutionally sound that you cannot use police for city bylaw enforcement unless there's a warrant that says these people need protection from me. That assertion, just again, medical patients are gangsters. I was no gangster just because I grew weed. My house was never shot up. No guns. Some of you might wonder, well, did they come back with the administrative warrant? Well, no, they didn't. They couldn't. Well, instead, I called Kurt Tusaw because, again, John Conroy's a little more expensive back then. Kurt was his apprentice. Kurt was very good, as you all know. I just simply called Kurt Tusaw and had Kurt file, at that time, a human rights complaint against the city for harassment because I had already sued them for cutting my plants down. I'd already successfully kicked their ass in court with John Conroy. So Kurt Tusaw just wrote them a threat letter to the mayor. I went on the internet and fucking, at that time, I had 20,000 people watching my grow shows on a weekend. So I asked everybody to email the mayor and let him know that what they're doing to medical patients in the city of Abbotsford was wrong. We flooded that in. They shut down his email server or something. It was kind of crazy. But anyway, he ended up tapping and sent me a letter back that until a human rights tribunal is done, that the city of Abbotsford will no longer bother myself with respect to growing cannabis at my residence. Because I have landlord permission. So that's how you fight and you establish your rights and you understand where your rights are being violated. And some of us don't know our rights are being violated just because some coats with the patches on show up and they say, we're law, we're the city. Well, yeah, you are, but there's limitations on what your rights are. Like I said, if you, my lawyer said, if the city show up by themselves and they just want to do the inspection, let them in. And I was all prepared to let them in and just film them doing the inspection for my own protection. They had to bring police. Like I said, you guys showing up with, 3 cars. He goes, oh, it was just 2. It's like, thanks for the admission on camera. You guys don't realize that when we went outside to film them, that the lady filming it, all of a sudden the female officer, you'll see her in the video, she quickly, if you watch that stuff back in slow-mo, you'll see where the female officer starts running after, trying to get us while we're outside of the doorway, outside the threshold of the doorway. Like cockroaches, we scurried back into our little fucking hut where we knew they couldn't come in. And then the next part I would always advise you is to always be assertive and abrupt. Don't be aggressive, but be assertive. Go up and just say, look, officer, no. This is my understanding, so I'm not going to let you in. If you're ignorant or rude, aggressive or threatening, if you seem threatening to an officer, they have a right to grab you. You have to look at what they call no-knock warrants. I would also remind you, don't keep anything open sight. There's something called an open sight warrant. And I don't know why I'm talking about this other than just it took me back to those days when I was educating. It actually meant something because we were stopping people from getting harmed and getting evicted. Here's another example. How do I let those guys in? How do I let the police and the city in? What they then do is they bill back my landlord for all those workers for whatever time they took to inspect my house, and those officers get a warrantless search. So whatever they find, I can then be charged based on it because I let them in my house on a warrantless search. Like he said, well, if you let me, and I said, well, I'm not letting you. That's standing your ground without provocation. You just got to know how to finesse the situation, but also be assertive. That's why the first thing you do, it throws all of them off when the first thing you do is say, who wants to do the talking? Who's the manager? Who's in charge? That's being assertive. That means you're very confident in your position that you're going to take. What mine was, you're not coming in today. Because you showed up with police, you're not coming in my house. That was the position I took. They had a position that they were going to come through my door. Now, barring threatening me with an administrative warrant, they never did. No administrative warrant came through. Instead, the city's mayor, as I said, his email server or whatever got shut down because it got flooded from all my supporters back then when I had an actual popular show. Now there's like 100,000 grow shows. It's hard to keep up. But back then, if you asked somebody to send when there was such a mass email, I guess it was enough to knock his shit offline. But it got the attention of a lot of different activists and a lot of cannabis users that are like, yeah, man, Jason's right. We shouldn't be criminalized or marginalized or victimized for using a plant. It's wrong. You cannot justify this in any way. And every time we go in front of the courts, they lose. Every time. There isn't a single time that we lost. Except with Matt Murnock, because he actually did get a prescription. And he said he didn't. You don't lie on the stand. And gets all your evidence thrown out. It's kind of stupid. Anyway, I'm not going to go and start targeting other people. That was one of the only other cases, cannabis, 2 cases to make it to the Supreme Court of Canada. And good job on Paul Luen for getting it that far. Tremendous work on his part to get it to the Supreme Court. I just wish it had it would have established more flaws and more unconstitutionality in the MMAR in the highest courts of the land. Now, the only person to ever do that was Owen Smith through the R.V. Smith constitutional trial with Kurt Tusaw as lead attorney. And quite frankly, I have to give credit where credit is due to my old friend and associate and still friend and associate, Mr. Ted Smith, who was with the Cannabis Buyers Club of Canada, way back. So you're talking about a lot of changes. They changed the law with respect to extracts. So as we sit here and we dab on our show and we talk about this, and this would never have been allowed in my possession because it was an extracted form of cannabis, even so that is so purified that they know it's went through a lab. So they're gonna want to know how the fuck I got it. Now, because of the Supreme Court, they really don't have the right to ask any questions, because what this is CBD. Well, they can test it, unless they can find something else in there. There's nothing but CBD, and if it's only CBD, then it's cannabis in all of its forms, in accordance with the wording in R.V. Smith by the Supreme Court of Canada. Patients can have cannabis in all of its forms. As I sit here with shatter, CBD, and weed, and my dad pen, and keep just talking. I don't know why. It must be the CBD really kicking my butt, but it is what it is. Let me see here what I got that I might be able to play as I kill off this last fucking... What am I trying to kill off here now? What am I at? 156. Okay, no, actually, no, I'm not going to go anywhere. I got 4 minutes to go. 4 minutes and counting. So, yeah. If you guys got any last minute comments, any questions, we talked about low temp dabs. So, again, that was a timer. So, again, temps, when I bring the email in the next show, I'm going to actually make it you'll see the title will be low temps. I'm still screwed up. Even the title this morning didn't work the way I wanted because it's still the last show's title. But I'm learning. I'm trying to catch back up to YouTube, after using it as a platform solely for education and information with respect to the Allard trial and fundraisers, etc. But it wasn't being used as it is now as a conduit for normally news and stuff on the morning show. Today's been just me talking, a lot of me talking, but it is what it is. Yeah, and I think we've covered pretty much everything. So with 3 minutes left, people ain't going here. This is interesting for me to watch the analytics. It's good to see this going. And thank you everybody for tuning in today and watching the show. We did extend it. Clearly time flew. This is a good example of CBD. Just as I close out in this last 3 minutes, CBD will kick in and such a high dose, and with the right carrier oil, again, use a high triglyceride oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, as a carrier. Take that and you're going to feel how I feel right now, which is, they can say you don't get stoned from CBD. They're wrong. It's just not you stoned. You get medicated. You get calmed down. You get, your anxiety gets dropped, and it's really hard to, the inflammation and pain that normally painkillers don't touch. That fucking, you guys know what I'm talking about, that suffer from chronic pain. That's the shit that gets actually touched when you take this in the right dose. It's just unfortunate that it's so expensive and it takes such a high dose to get to feel the way I am right now. Between that and my wife almost greening me out on my own show, that's yeah. Definitely overshow, overcare. I mean, this is the thing: is through collective knowledge, and just in closing, through collective knowledge and through collective empowerment and sharing this. I'd love to be able just to keep this chat going for you guys. And if you want me to, I can by just running videos, old videos of mine. I don't need to. They'll run by themselves. And then I'll kill the broadcaster after a bit. Let me know. That's something somebody asked in the chat yesterday, and I didn't quite understand until I've been reading up on. Just give me some time here to catch up with the YouTube stuff. There's a lot that I'm dealing with. I got some personal stuff in my own life, and then I'm still dealing with trying to get this show. I can get a joint rolled on the show, so there you go. Getting the show off to the final part, but. Here we are in our last 15 seconds, so we're going to count it down as we close out today. At least I can see my write-up got in there. I just probably forgot to change the title, so I'm going to have to maybe change it, or maybe it could be a weekly question for, you know, if I'm going to keep this going as a weekly show. But thank you everybody for tuning in, and thank you to all of our sponsors: Green Planet Nutrients, Pacific Northwest Garden Supply.